Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making this very simple balloon dress. It's a very simple and easy tutorial that sewing beginners will find it very easy to make. I hope you try it out, and if you are interested in this video, let's get right into it. We'll first be cutting the down part of this dress. I've folded my fashion fabric into two, and then we are going to be measuring the length and then the width. Remember, the fashion fabric is on fold. So for the width, I have 57 inches. Remember, it's on fold, so it's going to be times 2. So 57 plus 57. And then the length is 28 inches. So after we've established these marks or measurements on the fashion fabric, we are going to go ahead and cut the lining. So you fold your lining in a diagonal way. We are going to be cutting a half circle. So you're going to divide your waist measurements by 2 plus 1 inch for zipper allowance. Then you're going to mark it in a straight line for the waist. From the waistline, you are going to be measuring the length of the lining. Your lining should be 3 inches to 4 inches shorter than the fashion fabric. Remember, our fashion fabric was 28 inches for the length, so our lining is 24 inches. And then on the center back, I came down or extended the length by 1 inch to make up for shortage. This will make sure that when you wear your skirt, your back will not be shorter than the front, okay? So always make sure you extend the back of your flare dresses by about 1 inch. So we cut out the lining like so. So now we have circle skirt or half circle skirt for our lining, and we have a straight or triangle for the fashion fabric. I hope you understand. So you notch the center of the waist of the lining, and then you bring in your fashion fabric. We are going to be slanting the center back the same way we did for the lining. So you bring in your lining and you're going to slant it like shown in the video. You're going to cut out the fashion fabric the same way at the center back of the lining. I hope you understand. Also remember to reduce the center front of the fashion fabric by about 1 or 2 inches, okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to be stitching loose stitch on the bottom, and then we are going to gather the fashion fabric onto the lining. Please take your time so that you do not rip off your thread when gathering your fashion fabric. So after gathering your fashion fabric, you are going to bring in your lining, front side facing each other, bottom to bottom. I mean the bottom of the fashion fabric to that of the lining. And you're going to spread the gathers along the edge of the lining from one end to the other. Make sure you pin before you take it to the sewing machine and sew, okay? So I've gone ahead to pin my gathers to that of the lining, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and then sew with 1/2 inches allowance. So I've gone ahead to sew with 1/2 inches allowance, and when you flip to the front side, this is what we have. Now we are left to gather that of the top layer or the waistline, right? You can decide to go in for gathers or go in for pleats. I decided to pleat the top layer onto the lining. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell in order to be notified whenever I upload new video. Welcome once again to my channel. So I've gone ahead to pleat about 1/2 inches interval of the fashion fabric onto the lining like so. And I've stitched it together. So now we have our downside or the bottom of the dress ready. So our balloon skirt is ready. You can decide to add a band and you have your balloon skirt, but I will go right into making of the bodice. So I have 2 pieces of fabric on fold. The top layer is the front and then the back is underneath. The back is longer than the front by 2 inches for zipper allowance, and I'm doing all the markings on the front pattern. So we mark our armhole, under bust, bust point, our waist, and then 3 inches allowance. We will be trimming off later on, so you extend these points in a horizontal line. Remember to label your lines. So on the waistline, we will be marking our nipple to nipple divided by 2. Mine is 8 divided by 2 is 4. You're going to mark that on the waistline, on the under bust, and then on the bust point line. Then connect these points together to form a straight line or a vertical line. You're going to notch the point of the dart for both the front and then the back. Now for the neckline, I mark my shoulder to shoulder divided by 2. Mine is 6.5. Don't add any sewing allowance. And then for the neckline, I came in by 4.5 inches for the neck width, and then for the neck depth, I came down by 3 inches. I later increased to 5 inches for the neck width because it's a boat neck. Then you curve it like so. Remember that is for the front neckline, okay? Only for the front. Then you come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and then connect it like so. You divide the remaining of the armhole and you mark a point along that line. Go up from the bust point by 0.5 inches or 1/2 inches. And then curve the point on the armhole to the point above the bust point. So on the waistline, I came out towards the side by 1.5 inches. Then the same for the under bust. Then you come down by 1/2 inches allowance from the bust point and you curve it into the under bust point. So now we have our front panel almost ready. So you're going to measure your actual waist measurement. Mine is 7.2 inches. Then you're going to replace your dart intake of 1.5 inches. So you mark your bust divided by 4. Mine is 8.2 inches. Then you're not going to add any allowance or intake yet. You connect it like so. Then I added 3 inches sewing allowance on the side. If you've made it this far, thank you for visiting my channel. I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We will not be creating any armhole dart for this top. We'll just maintain it that way. And I'm going to go up by half inches on the shoulder line as sewing allowance. Cut it out like so. To draw the back neckline, we're going to come down from the starting line by just 1.5 inches. And then curve it into the 5-inch neckline mark. Remember, the first curve is for the back neckline and then the second is for the front. So you cut the 1.5 inches for both the front and then the back. And then you raise only the front panel. Then you're going to cut the neckline for the front, which is the 5 by 3 inches. So indicate the center front line on the back pattern so that you know where your zipper is starting from. Okay, then you're going to be pulling the front over the back panel and then extend the lines or the points on the front to that of the back. I hope you understand. Okay, so from the chest line, you're going to go up by 2 inches or 1.5 inches for the darts. And then remember the point we marked for the darts for both the front and then the back. You're going to extend that point to the 2-inch mark above the chest line. And you're going to go on each side by half inches on the waist, on the under bust. Then you're going to join the points together. Just as I'm doing. So we have our zipper allowance, as you can see. So I'm going to be cutting both the lining and that of the fashion fabric together for the back. So you cut out the dart to the point or the 2-inch mark above the chest line. So we are going to be having one piece or a single piece for the back. I hope you understand. And then for the front, I'm cutting both the lining and then the fashion fabric together as well. I'm going to slit open the armhole. So we have 2 pieces on fold for the front and we have single pieces for the back. So I've gone ahead to stitch in the darts with half inches allowance for both the lining of the front the fashion fabric of the front and that of the back as well. I've also gone ahead to iron the seams flat. So what we are going to do now is you bring in your lining and then your fashion fabric front side facing each other. Make sure your seams align. And then you're going to stitch the neckline and then the 2 armholes. You do same for the back, front side facing each other. You're going to stitch the neckline and then the armhole of the back as well. So I've gone ahead to do that and I've notched the allowances. So when you flip it to the right side, this is what we have. So go ahead and iron them flat. So I've gone ahead to iron them and this is what I have. So now we are going to be sewing the shoulder seam in place. Please watch what I'm doing. You're going to bring in front side facing each other. You're going to flip the back. You're going to sandwich the front sleeve into that of the back. In between, I mean the fashion fabric and then the lining of the sleeve. I hope you understand. Making sure your seams align. After that, you're going to sew with 1/2 inches allowance. I did same for the other side. Remember, you sandwich the front into that of the back. And then you trim off the excesses. So when you flip it to the right side, this is what you have. Very neat shoulder joining. I hope you understand and it's not that complicated. See how neat our shoulder joining is. Go ahead and iron it flat. Then now you have to align the side of the back and that of the front. Before that, we are going to be stitching in our zipper allowance of 2 inches. So I've gone ahead to stitch the zipper allowance and iron it flat. It's now time for us to take our measurement on the bodice. So I created this crease line in the center front, and then from that crease line you're going to measure your waist divided by 4 on both sides, then your bust divided by 4 on both sides. Connect these points together. Then you're going to sew on top of the mark point. I've gone ahead to do that and this is the final result. Our bodice is ready. So you are now going to take the length of your bodice. Mine is 16 plus 1/2 inches sewing allowance. You're going to trim off the excesses. After that, you find the midpoint of the front pattern and you're going to notch that. You are also going to open up the zipper allowance. Then you bring in the bottom part of the dress, notch the center, and you're going to be aligning the center of the skirt or the bottom part to the center of the bodice, front side facing each other. First, you have to pin them to make sure they align first. So I've gone ahead to do that, and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I've gone ahead to stitch with 1/2 inches as sewing allowance, and this is the final look. So we go ahead and fix our zipper. Our balloon dress is almost ready. Very simple and easy tutorial. Make sure you wear a petticoat or an underskirt for a maximum effect. Bye.